Welcome back to episode 41 of the Ginge Ball podcast. We had another weekend of March Madness games, the Elite Eight, and we have the Final Four coming up this weekend. We also have some NBA stuff we want to get to, some NBA draft stuff. But first, Beck, Ryan, how we doing?
Tremendous. Ready to rock and roll.
Ready for this Final Four. It's going to be a great weekend of hoops.
Should be. Michigan, Arizona is unreal hoops, unreal cinema. But first, before we get into the college hoops, we had an ex-Sixer. I hate that we have to say that, but an ex-Sixer, Evan Turner, on TV says, I can't stand Philadelphia on a pregame show. And then following that, he got in a Twitter beef with a random guy. So Kevin Kyle or some shit says, I don't know what's more fucked up, the inflection of your voice or your Sixers tenure. Trust me, pal, the feeling is mutual. To which Evan Turner says, probably the Sixers tenure for sure. It was a disgusting experience as a player. Then I went to Boston and learned what a real sports city was. Fuck. What do we make of Evan Turner shitting on the Sixers?
With all due respect, this is a joke, brother. Evan Turner was so bad at basketball, reminding everyone he's number 2 pick. Evan Turner was so bad at basketball that Philadelphia literally doesn't bring him up. Like, he's that irrelevant here. Philadelphia remembers losers so often. Like, we still talk shit about anyone, name anyone. Zaire Smith barely even played a minute and still gets brought up all the time. And we took him like 12th. Evan Turner was number 2 overall and never did anything in the NBA. The only reason Boston fans were good to him is because they expected nothing when he got there, because he was already done as a real NBA player after his rookie deal in Philly. That's embarrassing. He's an embarrassment. He should be embarrassed of the bullshit that he's putting out there. It's really tough to become so bad that you're not even hated in Philadelphia. We won't even waste our energy on him. So I feel bad for the brother, and I hope he gets the help he needs. Maybe he can talk to Jaden Ivey.
The help he needs. Holy shit. Beck?
Yeah, I don't. He's a very forgettable player. I feel like the only time he was relevant in my basketball lifetime was the Blazers stint. And that's like a rotational impact player on the semi-contender playoff, hopefully second round team. But yeah, there's not much to say, man. Like Evan Turner, this is revisionist history, but it feels like he was an underwhelming prospect. Like, I don't really understand why he went number 2.
Yeah, he was a great college player, but our evaluation
it was clearly
of college
not going to work.
Yeah, our evaluation of college players has come such a long way. Like a guard that can't shoot a lick being like thought of as a top prospect. It's just such bad process.
Yeah, I mean, my only memory of him in college, granted I'm like 10 years old at this point, but
that like half court buzzer beater.
Yes, in the Big Ten tournament.
That was so special.
Literally it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see him get evaluated now.
Like was Aaron Kraft playing with him at that? Like, it feels like he was in that time period, but they didn't cross paths. It's just a weird time in Ohio.
I think they might have crossed paths.
I feel like he's right before.
Kraft might have been a little younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that was right when, Turner couldn't have been far beyond that.
Yeah. I mean, he was 2010 draft, which is what I wanted to pull up just so we could see.
John Wall's 1. He's 2, and I don't really remember anybody after that.
Boogie was 5. Gordon Hayward was 9. Paul George was 10. Which Paul George, you can't really knock them for he was out of Fresno State. Yeah. So it's like him going at the top of the draft was just never going to happen.
Gordon Hayward too, that's as much as you're going to rise. That's like a mid-major at Butler, even if you go to the national championship. But Boogie feels like a miss.
Yeah, that was
especially when Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
Boogie was the one, man.
Going second, a couple years later. When he's at Kentucky, when Davis went 1.
Derek Favors 3 in that draft too. Special.
Yeah,
even Favors, dude, would have been a better pick than.
Yeah, where'd Favors go again?
Georgia Tech.
Utah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Thought you were talking about.
Oh, you meant in the draft.
No, I meant for school. I was thinking Georgetown for a second.
He was drafted by the Nets, New Jersey.
Really?
Nets.
Was he traded immediately to Utah?
Probably. Yeah.
I only remember
because I don't remember.
He played 1 year with Brooke, I think.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I don't remember him as a net at all. Oh yeah, Beck, you're right. He played 1 season in New Jersey. Wow, New Jersey Nets feels so weird to say.
Basketball knowledge is just
Greg Monroe at 7 would have been a better pick than Evan Turner.
Greg Monroe, this time in 5 years, good Greg Monroe ball.
Mhm.
Maybe five's a little generous, but
I was gonna say, man,
three.
it's probably a
He,
little
he
crazy.
started he started a playoff game for the Sixers when he was like 47.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
He was
The
That
Sixers are insane, man.
he
the
was
Sixers
so
are a
unplayable.
fucking joke with it with the backup big man.
Amir Johnson, remember that?
Yeah,
I was
that's a starter.
watching.
Yeah. No,
I was
Amir got real burn. He got like 30 minutes per game, I feel
yeah,
like.
dude.
Yeah, no,
I was
he got
watching.
big minutes.
Remember that playoff run where Bellinelli had the confetti buzzer beater that they
Yeah,
had
Oh
their
yeah, and then
first
when they
one.
lost.
Their
yeah.
first.
That run, I was watching highlights of Bellinelli because I was just like, he was such a ridiculous shooter. I wanted to watch it again, and it was like Amir Johnson DHOs, and I was like, holy fuck,
Yeah,
dude,
disgusting.
we were not good.
Nope.
Dario
The-
Saric was like a key player, Ursan Ilyasova, like
yeah, I mean, rookie Ben was easily the best
he
Special.
was
version of him.
so good, dude. I feel
Yeah.
like now that it's gone so shitty for Ben, there's so much revisionist history on him as a player. Like he was unreal, dude. He was like a
His rookie year
four-time
is fucking.
All-Star. Yeah.
Yeah, he was unbelievable and like one of the best defenders I've seen in the modern NBA.
Yeah. But moving on from the NBA, we had our Elite Eight games over the weekend. Obviously, Iowa special run, Bennett Sturt special run, cut short by Illinois and the Fighting Illini. I want to ask you guys, Keaton Wagler obviously showed out in this game and has showed out throughout the tournament. How do you view him as an NBA prospect?
He's the most confusing one to me that's made a deep run in the tournament, bar none. Like the one thing that stands out about him that I know that he does well, he's a great rebounding guard. That's one thing I know that will, translate to the NBA, but the shooting is definitely there. I'm just there's moments I watch him, I'm just confused like where he would line up as an NBA guard. Would he be a primary ball handler? Is he going to be, a two, a combo guard? I land on combo guard, but I don't know how good his like capabilities are with the ball in his hands as a primary playmaker, which I think Caps is that's the main question you're gonna have to ask. If you take him top 10, I think you have to feel confident that he is a primary handler for your team. So I'm confused with him. I really don't know. He doesn't stand out in any of these games to me either. He has moments, but he's not like not in one of their wins have I gone, wow, he's the catalyst for this Illinois win. And they were raving about him during the Houston game. I didn't I thought he had
Yeah, I didn't
a
think
lot
that
of bad moments in the second half too.
I didn't think that game was especially great from him. He had obviously that really nice like little half step back move that broke someone's
Yeah.
ankles. But yeah, I thought the Iowa game was probably his best game of the tournament. Just like the scoring, I wouldn't say three level scoring because it's really just threes and layups, but he's very crafty in the lane, and I do think the creation's good. I'm skeptical that it's as elite as some people make it out to be. Like, I think because he's a taller guard, I was gonna say bigger, but he's not big, and he doesn't really
He plays
use.
bigger. He's like 6'4", right?
He's
Not
6'6". I actually
Yeah.
think he plays a little smaller than his stature. I think he could use his size a little bit more to his advantage. Like, I think he's a little frail and like he plays more like a smaller guard to me than a 6'6". Like he should, to me, his archetype should be more dominant than it is. It doesn't feel like his potential is as high because he plays a little bit down. I don't know.
Yeah, especially in college, like you'd want to see a 6'6" guy with presumably or what you hope for is like a guard skill set that can dominate the smaller college guards. And I feel like that would get me excited about what he could do in the NBA. But because he doesn't do that, I kind of find myself just wondering, like, how is he going to efficiently score the ball in the NBA if he can't do it easier in college against smaller
Yeah.
guards? Like, he's only going to face bigger wings, bigger guards, quicker dude, like better defenders. So that's the thing that gives me pause. I'm kind of in the same boat as Beck, where I'm not like out on him, but I'm also just kind of
Skeptical.
confused, yeah, of what it looks like in the NBA.
Also,
Yeah.
I totally worded what I was trying to say. I agree with you guys on the point that you were making. He plays smaller than
Oh,
he is.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like that's my biggest knock on him is like as Ryan said, like you're 6'6" being guarded by point guards in college. You just have to take people down to the woodshed sometimes and just get a bucket. And I think he's a good scorer. The shooting's great. Obviously, he's like a 41% three-point shooter, and it's a lot of like dribble pull-ups and stuff. So I think that's transferable. he has the ball so in his hands so much now for Illinois, and it's honestly helped their offense a ton. Like if you watch the highlights, which we'll get to when we talk about the Final Four game against UConn, but like the first time those two teams played, he was
That's the least
not
he played.
yeah,
He
and
played 13 minutes.
he was not in the same role as he is now. And that team was so much worse offensively because of that. So like he does open up their offense and gives them a look that they never had. And I think he makes life so much easier for their bigs too. But yeah, I want to see some other stuff from him. And he is young still, so that stuff can come. But I
It's
think
weird
he
though, because he's not a super like he has the ball in his hands a lot, but he's not making the pass that ends up, leading directly to a bucket a lot of the time. Which is, I mean, I feel like that's very in contrast to how it was last year with Yakachonis, because he had the ball in his hands all the time too.
yeah. Yeah. You definitely like him more than you like Yakashonis though, right? As a prospect?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do 100%. I'm just saying in terms of like Illinois basketball,
Yeah.
Yakachunas was like, I mean, he averaged like
He
eight
was
assists in
more of the
college.
engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a real creator. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I still like the playmaking stuff from Wagler, and maybe because it took like a half a season. So the thing with him that's also weird is he was not a super highly touted recruit. Underwood kind of took a chance on him, and there was quotes from last year in the offseason where they were like, "I think this kid's one of the best prospects I've ever had up there with all the other guys that Illinois had." And he did end up being, I mean, he's going to be a top 10, top 7 pick in this draft. So he took a chance on him, and he developed a lot over the year, and his role changed throughout the year. So if you're an NBA GM, you might also be like, every time that his role's gotten bigger, he's excelled, and this team has excelled because of it. That could be really, really enticing to them. And like the tools are all there. Like the defense isn't great, but it's already passable and not terrible. And he's 6'6" and long. So I could see GMs convincing themselves that he's like 5 or 6.
Do you
But
think he has to put on weight?
yeah, probably a little bit. I think for the way that he's gonna have to play, as opposed to like the KD, where I don't think it matters as much because he's more off ball. For a guy who's gonna have the ball a ton and is trying to get into the lane a ton, I would like him to be a little bit sturdier. So yeah, I mean, I think that whole range, if you look at the board, on my board, I have him in the same range as like Fleming's, Burries, in terms of guards. Fleming's, Burries, Phylon, and Acuff, of course.
I think
Um,
him versus Burries is the comparison like I'm most intrigued by, because
yeah,
I don't know between those two where I stand.
I kind of don't know where I stand with any of them. I think I'm at this point. I lean Fleming's.
Say the group one more time. Oh, Fleming's. Yeah,
Yeah,
Fleming's. I think I put comfortably below both.
really.
Yeah, both Burries and Wagler.
And Acuff, of course, is in that group too.
Yeah,
You're higher on Acuff than I
but
am.
I think Acuff's a different category of player. Like I feel like those three, Wagler, Burries, and Fleming's, they're all they project to be like either combo or primary ball handlers, but you don't really have a good feel for which one they're going to be. I think with Fleming's, I don't feel comfortable with them being my primary ball handler
No,
like
I don't
100%.
think he profiles as a primary ball hunt. I think he's 100% off ball. I think he's like a Drew
Yeah.
Holiday type. I'm
I mean, early career Drew had the ball in his hands all the
sure,
time though.
and I think Flemings can have the ball in his
And
hands, but I don't
he
think he's
excelled. Like he was a
yeah, yeah.
all-star his third year.
Drew's. I mean, Drew later career Drew,
Yeah,
like what Drew ended up being, like a Derek White type.
no, but I'm saying Drew in his third year as like a guy who had the ball in his hands all the time as an all-star.
Yeah, yeah. I think Flemings can be an all-star. I think Flemings is really good. I think the defensive upside is crazy. Like his on-ball defense, nuts.
Yeah, no, I'm solely talking about his offensive game is very underwhelming to me.
I think he
I
had a
don't think he's
bad
that good of a
game.
passer.
I think he had, yeah, that's true. The creation's not there at all. But I think the game he had against Illinois was so bad that it overshadows. He did have a pretty special year offensively in addition to defensively.
Yeah,
But
I don't hold that game against him either. The surrounding talent for him offensively was shit. Didn't assert himself enough either, though. And that's the one thing I would hold against him. Like, you only got up. He was like 4 of 11, right? In that game.
yeah, I think they just got clamped in that game. I thought the offense was just bad in general. But for me, Fleming's like the shooting off the dribble, the 3-point percentage was good. I think he's gonna be a very, very good player. And I think of that crew, to me, it's Wagler. You kind of have to focus your offense more around him, in my opinion. Like I really don't know how I feel about him as like just like an off-ball guy. I kind of feel like he's got to be like a primary creator. I think Acuff, of course, has to be a primary creator. And then I think Flemings and Burries are more of like your secondary guys. And
I
I
don't
think
like Fleming's being a secondary guy size wise though.
he's six
It's the,
four. He's not like tiny. I think he's like the VJ. He's like the VJ kind of
but you're gonna
secondary
need
guard.
he needs to be around
Yeah.
a tall guard then.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
but when you think about it, if you're going this high in the draft, depending on who's up, like we'll also have to see what teams are where, but depending who's there, and you see his upside as like that. Because to me, the upside for Kingston Flemings is like a Drew Holiday, Derek White, like that kind of player. To me, the process for him is similar to the VJ process. Whereas I don't think he's as good of a prospect as VJ was, but
no,
I
certainly
see him
not.
in that mold of player.
I
And
feel like
VJ
he has more explosiveness than both those guys. I'm trying to think like he has it's like fast twitch is
Flemings.
obviously yeah, is it's
Well,
incredible. Like that
that's why VJ is more some because VJ also
yeah,
wasn't a creator in college. He showed
100%
he
not.
showed
Yeah.
that he could play make, but it wasn't like he didn't have the ball in his hands a ton until the back half of the season at Baylor. And so when you see Flemings, like that's what you see. Is like I want that secondary guy where if you pair him with, you know, a Maxi or which is tough because unless it's like a Indiana situation or one of those situations where you already have a backcourt that's really good and you're bringing him into that, then I mean, it could be tougher. But for me, that's kind of how I break down that crew of guards. It's the Flemings and Burries as like the off-ball
All right,
guys.
where would you put Phylon in that group as well?
Phylon's a creator, so I would have him
No,
in the
like just
Wagner.
in like a pecking order for you rather take. Because
Dude,
I think it's disrespectful to him to not put him in
no, no,
like
he's
this
in. You know,
conversation. Yeah,
I'm the biggest Phylon guy.
yeah.
My thing with Phylon is he has good hands-on defense and good instincts, but his defensive metrics aren't great. And that could also just be because that Bama defense wasn't great. But dude, the offense with Phylon is so sick. Like
Yeah, so
I
it's
think it's like
incredible.
on par with it, like the Acuff stuff. To like his usage was similar to Acuff, and he was probably less explosive than Acuff, but the playmaking was as good, if not even like better than Acuff. And
Just as an engine too. Like
yeah, and the off the dribble shooting was like he's like a 40% three-point shooter with
they
like
scored
unassisted.
85 against Michigan with no Holloway. Like, that's
Yeah, dude.
incredible.
I think
Because their
he had
surrounding
what
talent,
34 in that game?
35, yeah. And their
Yeah.
surrounding talent besides Holloway is crap. Like
Yeah, the
let's be
spacing
real.
was
Yeah.
awful. So I love Phylon. I think teams probably won't. I don't think in NBA circles he's seen as a top 5 or 6 pick. I think he's more of like the back half of the top 10, which is probably fair. I'm probably a
Yeah, but
little too high
I
on
think
him.
that's where you would project all these guys, like mid to back
Well, I
half
think
of
they're
the
all.
top
I
10.
think this crew is like 5 to 9. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think he'll probably
besides A
go.
Cup right now, because A Cup's probably going ahead of all these other guys we're talking about.
Do we think?
I think that's how the NBA thinks.
I don't know. I think people might be in for a rude awakening with where Acuff. I think the defense concerns are
Palpable.
widespread.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's the toughest one for me to evaluate because the offense is so sick. And it's not just where he's a great scoring guard. It's like you're throwing all your eggs in that basket. It's also the playmaking's nuts. And he gets downhill. He can shoot the three. He's not the best rim finisher, but he's crafty. So I don't know.
But to be fair, like the person making these decisions, they have 30 clones of you in their ear, but all of them have different opinions.
Yeah.
And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, they probably just go with what they hear the most or what they see. And
Yeah.
most of
Or
the
what
time
they value.
yeah,
Like it
yeah.
depends what the team like I think worst case scenario is what we've talked about is him to sack. And like
Yeah.
him to Sacramento is
That
worst
feels
case.
very real to me too.
But that feels like the team that would take him.
Yeah.
That feels like the teams that's like, we don't give a shit if he's a zero on defense. He's gonna put asses in seats and he's gonna be electric. He's gonna score 30 a game. We'll take him. And that to me is a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
Like him and DeRozan in backcourt, dude. Like, fuck that.
I don't think Demar's there.
I hope not. Dude, have you seen his
He's so bad, man.
his
He's been
BPM this year is like one of the worst in the NBA. He's like a bottom 10 player in the
I
league.
mean, he's a losing basketball player.
Yes.
Like,
But Monk and Acuff to me is so special. And Reno and Neek.
and
But
right now really is.
dude, he's sick.
Yeah.
I like Neek a lot too. But yeah, so that's the thing with Acuff is I worry that he's going to go to a team that sucks and just be a 30 point per game scorer on a losing team. And that to me sucks. I would much rather see him go to a team where the defensive infrastructure is so good around him that A, it doesn't really matter if he's a cone, and B, when you're on a good defense, like
So I don't
you'll
think that
raise
exists.
you'll raise your level.
I don't think that exists in like the teams that realistically have a chance to be in this like
What, a team
top
with a good
eight.
defensive infrastructure?
Yeah.
I think Indiana is.
He's not going to Indiana. Like
That's a thing. It's like Indiana's a spot where I also saw somebody who said that Peterson is somebody they would like to see in Indiana,
I would love that. That's
which
fun.
which makes more sense to me because he's just like a turbo better version of Mathurin.
Neesmith. He's the turbo
Well,
version of Neesmith.
That too, but like he also I think is like the off-ball shooting that Mathurin gave you, and then he does so much.
I mean,
more.
when you saw it in the play, like Neesmith's like high end.
No,
shoot,
I love,
like,
you can
rely on
sick.
that with Peterson though.
Yeah,
like, every game, and I feel
that's
like that's
thing.
perfect for them.
You could cut bait with Neesmith entirely if you got.
Yeah,
you could trade him. So yeah, but I just think I love DP. I can't wait till we get to our draft prospects. But for me, Acuff, the offense is sick. I think it transfers, especially with better spacing.
just think about it. Hallie, sorry, it's gonna be off the Acuff thing, but
yeah,
for Hallie, DP, and Nemhard as like a guard group is
it's stupid. That's so
perfect, dude.
And then you have the the Siakam four that can space a little bit, but then also it's a lot of mid range. And then you have Zubac, or you could just go. I mean, you could even keep Neesmith and go small with Siakam 5 in some lineups. Like
you can run those 3 guards in the lineup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those 3 plus
they're interchangeable.
Yeah, and at any point you could have 2 or 3 of those guys on the floor. Yeah, I mean, Indiana's in such a good spot, dude. Like
I can't believe how bad they are this year, though.
But it's like best case. Like
I know. I want to know when they purposely started doing like being.
It was early because remember we were high on them because we just thought they had such a high floor, especially like when we did our over unders. Like you had them over, and I was all in. I was like, damn, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
Because we just thought this roster was so like competitive and solid. And I remember early on being like, oh, this is maybe the worst team in the NBA. And like these guys, because Siakam, Nemhard, and somebody else were just sitting like 2 weeks into the season with no injury. And I was like, oh, this is what they're doing. They're done with this year.
I kind of like don't really remember the timeline too well of when they just completely took their foot off the gas. But if it's that early, then I'm moved.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's weird because in a way, the Halliburton Achilles injury might have been I don't want to say the best outcome for them for this season because like, obviously that sucks, but if they end up with Debonsa, right. If he doesn't return, then none of this matters. Yeah. But say he comes back like Tatum did and he's fine next season and ready to go, and they get like Debonsa or DP, dude, this project just goes to the moon. Like they're right there with anyone.
I think it needs to be one of them though.
I do too. I think the concern if you're Indiana is that it's in that range that we talked about, the 5-6.
Yeah.
And then you get like Kingston Flemings, which is not a bad situation to be in, but it's like, does that move the needle in a final series, in an Eastern Conference final series? I don't know.
Because I mean, so like that run could still be lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
It could be.
It could be.
Now I don't want to discredit them at all, but
I don't know. I think in this East,
I think it's real, but I also think you have to look at like I think Carlisle with them is like a perfect match, and I don't know how much time left he has.
That's true. How old's Carlisle? 70.
He's up there, man.
Yeah.
And like stylistically, he adapted, but the game, like the league moves fast. Like next year, there could be a whole new. It doesn't move that fast usually, but like
it could.
The game can pass you by as quick as like
100%.
You look like a genius.
Well, that's the thing is I think sometimes we do take for granted, and when we project the Pacers, I'm also factoring Zubac. I think that's going to be a huge help to them. I think the rebounding is going to be much better.
And it's a real thing. They kind of brought to the forefront how successful you can be playing 94 feet.
Yeah.
Playing fast off of makes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of, like, you see that with a lot of teams this year. like them implementing that kind of shit. The league had like 2 years of tape now to catch up on that. You don't know how that looks
Yeah.
starting for the 2026-2027 season. It's not a guarantee. You're not going to catch people off guard with that
Yeah.
again.
Do you not think that that formula though still works? Like I honestly don't know if it matters if teams I do think to some degree, especially the fact that they were able to implement all the guards together, I think that definitely confused teams even in the playoffs, I think. Like Nemhard's ability to clamp up lead
Yeah.
guards. I really think that took teams by surprise, but I do think that it's a sustainable formula, especially if you put Zubats in there and another lottery guy.
I hear you. I'm like from going from Miles Turner to Zubac, and at least with the tempo and how
It's
fast he
really
plays.
different.
Yeah, is that something that's going to just completely be seamless? I'm not.
Yeah.
That's a question I ask.
That's why I think
And not that I
Nabont's
don't think
perfect.
Zubac is a completely better player than Turner.
Yeah.
It's just that offensively, you probably like he would match better with the team that slows it down, like a Harden. Like
Yeah.
he looked his best with Harden, and Harden's the guy who slows the game down.
Or Ja. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, him in Memphis would have been
So
special.
like, does Hallie's game translate to playing a slower pace? When has he played a slower pace in his career? Because he didn't with the Kings, and he hasn't in his tenure with the Pacers. And a half court game.
I
Does
think I think in that OKC series before he cooked his shit, I think he did have to play a lot of half court, and I still think he was good. He wasn't up until unfortunately he was cooking in that game 7 before tearing his
Yeah,
shit.
100%.
But like that you're right. That is kind of the series where things slow down. OKC makes you play in the half court. Lou Dort's in your shit from the time he's picked the ball up 94
Yeah, you're
feet.
probably gonna be getting hurt.
Right, as he did. And so
He might be I dislike him heavily, man.
yeah. I don't think he has many truthers around the league
Yeah,
anymore, dude.
I don't think he is a guy who purposely does it all the time too, but he's like it's one of my least favorite archetypes of players who are just like
It's funny
clumsy
you
with their
say that,
body.
though.
He doesn't do it on
'Cause-
purpose. He's just like reckless and clumsy with his body.
Yeah, but it's funny you say that as like Dylan Brooks truther.
Well, I think everything Dylan Brooks is intentional.
It's calculated. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the only play I think that you can say had like serious potential for injury is the GP
Mhm.
play, but I don't think there's been many other plays you can point to where Dylan does something that's, intentionally calculated as, gamesmanship that had a high potential for like serious injury. I find me another example of where that's been the case. It's usually just some shit to piss somebody off.
It's
like,
more like head
hit
games
their
with
chest,
him.
like tug on their jersey type of deal. I don't know, which is why I respect him.
He is more of like the Lance Stevenson mold than like
And I will say the GP shot was like a direct retaliation to Draymond tugging on Brandon Clark's jersey in game 1 and ripping him down.
yeah. I love the excuse factory for
Well,
Brooks.
I think Steve Kerr coming in saying they broke the code after the game.
It's funny to say from his perspective that someone else broke the code when like the shit Draymond was doing.
No, he's the biggest loser and enabler of a coach ever.
It is funny, like people are starting to see all of those things come to light with Kerr this
Well, I
year,
mean, Stephen
especially.
Curry is legit the whole culture and everything there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, even that title run, I mean, miraculous as it was, like that was so improbable. The fact that you needed an insane Jordan Poole season, you needed Wiggins turning back the clock, you needed like
not turning
all
back the
these
clock.
things.
That was just a version of Wiggins you never got before.
Yeah, that's true. You got the best version of Wiggins
Yeah.
for one season, and then every single thing had to go right to the point where if that doesn't happen, we're looking at a situation where post the dynasty run, the Warriors were really a nightmare. It was really
Dude, I'm telling you, his only
catastrophe.
contribution as a coach was enabling Draymond, which was a good thing.
Right.
That
And
sparked
during
the
that run,
dynasty.
it was a huge thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's his only contribution as an NBA coach is enabling him. The system is Curry.
Yes.
Don't give me the
But
system.
the system exploded with Kerr. Like the
It
system was in place.
It exploded with Draymond getting playing time, though, which is what I'm
Yes.
saying. His only contribution as a coach is enabling Draymond.
Yes, but I don't think that's the only reason the offense was better. Between the last Jackson season and the first Kerr season, you saw an evolution in the volume, first of all. which I do attribute some of that to Draymond, of course. Like he's one of the best screeners ever, whatever. And
And then the majority of it is just Curry.
yeah, and Clay, which
Like
like
talent is undeniable at some point. If
yeah,
he's
for
already a
sure.
guy who's been doing it for a couple of years,
So then, do you feel like it was harsh? The firing of Jackson was harsh, and that it eventually would have just happened, or do you think that they needed Kerr to start the dynasty?
I think you needed somebody else. I just
Yeah,
think he's definitely not the only person who could see that Draymond Green would be a successful player. But
yeah,
he did nothing to, hone. Is he like? I don't think he's a manager of egos at all, which is crazy from a ex-player. Like it feels like something that he would be able to do, but it's a reflection of him as like what he was as a player. Like he wasn't. I don't think he was. I mean, I'm speaking from a place where I wasn't in those locker rooms, obviously, but he definitely wasn't a
really?
vocal leader as a player.
You weren't
Yeah, I
alive.
mean, he was a fucking bench point guard.
Yeah,
So I don't think he was a vocal leader on
greatest
the
shooter
court.
of all time.
Like his claim to fame as a player is getting hit by Jordan in practice and
Yeah,
hitting a wide open mid range shot off a pass
I
from
mean,
Jordan
that might be a little disrespectful. He has the highest 3-point percentage for a season ever.
on what
He shot like 50%
on
from three.
Hunter on what volume, bro? Like
Yeah,
1.5
I mean
attempts per game.
it's not the same volume as now. Also, I think during the stretch where he broke the record was actually during a time when the league brought the 3-point line in a little bit. It was like a couple feet in. Do you remember that? In the 90s, they brought the 3-point line in for like 3 years, just randomly. And I'm pretty sure
I
that's the
don't
year
remember
he
that at
broke
all.
it. Yeah, look it up. But I think Kerr, you're right. The things that Kerr was good at, and the things that probably attributed to them being able to like form the dynasty, also were kind of what took it down. But I don't think he's the only. I don't. I mean, I think Myers deserves a lot of blame. I don't think the roster construction was
I
great.
mean, Myers got out at the perfect time. I don't really think he deserves blame. He just
Yeah, that's true. You could blame it more on the next iteration, but I
he
do
didn't
think
want them. He didn't
he
want to
didn't
make the
do
tough
enough.
decision, which I respect. But the person who comes in, you're like, don't leave. He's been there for like 3 years now. You got to make like
Yeah, but
Green
Myers
should have been
also
gone by
didn't do
now.
enough to extend. I feel like that 22 title covers up so many blemishes with how they were running that whole operation because I really don't think that roster was like an NBA Finals roster. If you didn't get that Curry season and you didn't get that out of his mind pool season, which I don't think can be replicated. Like if you run that simulation of that season 1,000 times, Jordan Poole probably has that season like twice. Like I
Probably, but I think Myers getting Wiggins in the door for like
yes,
they were able to get something for Durant to get D'Lo, and then you flip D'Lo for Wiggins, and he's the second or third best player on your championship team. Think that the credit has to go to Myers there.
yeah,
And then the whole Jordan Poole getting like maybe we're looking at Jordan Poole differently because he got punched.
yeah.
There's, I mean, that
I,
definitely has something to do with it,
it
man.
has something
I'm
to do with
sorry.
it, but I think him also just being like not an impactful NBA player anywhere else also has to do with it. But
Yeah, but everywhere else was after like
yeah, it was tough situations too. You can't really knock him for not figuring out in like New Orleans.
I think that was a perfect situation for him. I think if they don't butt heads and that's not a storyline and not
You think it
him getting
continues?
punches not broadcast for the world to see, you could get a better situation. I don't know. Like to me, Draymond Green is an exact reflection of like exactly what Steve Kerr is. Is he's a guy who can get, talent out of less, but he doesn't know how to manage actual talent.
But could you also say that like his ability to get the best out of Draymond and like him being able to let Draymond be the sort of instigator Draymond who is getting in the other team star's head, like sort of letting him be that guy.
I think a lot of people would be able to let him do that while also
I don't know.
being able to like he does not maximize he doesn't actually do anything with talent, but he maximizes people with or players with, less to, actually be impactful.
But then wouldn't you say on the Pool thing, wouldn't you say he maximized Pool's talent and Wiggins?
Yes. Yeah. No, no, I mean Wiggins is a fucking God gifted.
But that's what I'm saying. But nobody else
Yeah.
got that out of Wiggins.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good
So
point.
like I don't know. Kerr's a weird one because I agree. I tend
That's
to
a
agree
very
with
good
you.
point. Like Wiggins is like the one example. I don't think Poole
I
was
feel like
like
Wiggins had good role playing times on other teams just besides the Warriors though. Like I don't think he was like shit on other teams.
Yeah, he wasn't, but he was like
His best
much
version of
more
himself was
impactful. Yeah,
yeah,
to
for sure.
winning
I agree with that. But I'm just saying I don't think he was like a nothing player that Kerr made.
for
Like he
sure.
was always solid.
For
yeah.
sure. And Beck, maybe to your point about like Steph being the system, it could also be that we could be attributing some of like him getting the
Steve's the
most out of these
system.
guys.
I
No, no,
That
no.
fuck no.
No, what I'm saying is like
Fuck no.
we could be what we could be attributing to Kerr getting the most out of Poole and Wiggins could just be like if you plug guys into a system with Steph Curry with the amount of gravity he has and them just
Definitely. I
having
mean,
really talented guys in a
yeah.
much easier scoring situation could just flourish.
Gary
Yeah, they
Payton.
shine.
Gary Payton the second still gets playing time in 2026. Like, how the fuck is he still?
But not good minutes. Like if you watch him
Yes,
I mean the Warriors
he's bad.
are a
He's been a
sad state of
bad.
affairs
He's
right now.
bad.
We
He's a
know.
bad player. I mean, I had a guy shoot left-handed free throws the
I
other
think
night.
Guy Santos is special, by the way.
Yeah,
I think he's good, dude. But, anyways, I love how all of that came out of us discussing Illinois,
yeah.
Iowa.
Nah, I'm always good for a Steve Kerr, right? It's on the hate list.
Let's go. But back to the Elite Eight games. Duke UConn, we got to touch on it. Obviously, Duke leads in that game by as much as I think 20.
19. 19.
Yeah, it was, what was it, 44-25 at one
25.
point
Yep.
in the first half. The one thing was UConn did go on a little run at the end there. They went on a 5-0 run in like the last minute of the first half, which I think kind of set the tone to start the second half.
Totally.
And then you slowly start to see the wheels come off, which we have to get to. And I know we'll all have something to say on this. John Shire, if you look at his tournament exits year by year at Duke, you see a lot of the same shit over and over and over again. And even in the regular season last season, when that Duke team with Kahn and Flag, anytime they lost, I think it was a Kansas game earlier in the season and another big game like Kentucky or something, the games they lost were late game situations in which they had led at one point late in the game, then they tightened up and Flag would have a big turnover or Kahn couldn't create something in not really any set being drawn. And you see a similar thing here where down the stretch it just unravels and you kind of get the feeling that UConn's clawing back. And then, of course, we get the miracle ending that we saw. What is your guys' take on the end of that game, how it happened, and then just sort of how you see John Shire's tenure so far in that Duke program?
Well, I thought the reason it didn't fall off faster was Cam Boozer. Like, kudos to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
Very
two,
big of
That's
you, Beck.
growth.
Yeah,
That's
very
growth.
big.
Yeah.
the 2 or 3 buckets down the stretch that that was all him.
Mhm.
So I think he kept the wheels on for as long as they could be. If we want to talk about last play, just get that out of the way. I don't mind the decision from Boozer to like look for the outlet pass, but shouldn't even get to that point. First of all, I feel like Caleb Foster should definitely be on the court in that situation. He willed you back.
No.
I was wondering if that was a me glitch out or a Beck glitch out.
No. This might be one of the times. Beck has had Wi-Fi issues in the past. Hang on, I'm gonna look up Caleb Foster's free throw percentage. See
That's a
if
good
he's
thought.
chatting shit. Because in my head, I'm
Even
like,
if
I'm
it's
pretty
bad, I'm kind of with him though. Like
58%. That's really
Oh,
bad.
I honestly didn't. I thought you were gonna say like at worst. I thought you would say like 70.
But they had Dame Sarr on the court, who's like 53%.
Yeah, my rebuttal to that was even if it was really bad, even if he misses, I'm like, kind of who gives a fuck? Like it's gonna take a couple
Right.
of seconds to get
Well,
fouled,
that's-
and then by the
yeah.
time he misses, I'm like, you're probably still okay. I mean, granted, they definitely have a shot if he misses both, but I mean, they did win on kind of a miracle shot, but like it would have been even more of a miracle.
Unlikely. Yeah.
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 So I get from that sense, but like you said, there were worse free throw shooters on the floor than him. So I'm kind of with Beck.
Yeah.
I'd like to have another capable, just smart guy you trust with the ball in your hands. But also, though, I can't knock them for having Boozer in that position because he had been handling the rock like he was their like point guard for basically the entire
great.
tournament run.
Yeah.
And like I can't really knock Shire for the final play either because like they drew it up to literal perfection.
Yeah.
I would go ahead, Beck.
My second point was just that Isaiah Evans can't be all the way down the fucking court when he's the best free throw
They
shooter
both
on the
were.
court.
Yeah. And Gongbo is all the way down there.
Those are my 2 points on the final play. Like I don't mind the decision to try to pass it. I think you got to go bounce pass there.
1,000%.
But don't like the best free throw shooter on the court running to the end. I think you deployed your weapons in a weird way there. And I also think Caleb Foster should be on the court. Like he, to me, felt like a calming force for them and a guy who brought them back in the previous round. Like,
Yeah, we were talking about that while you were glitched out. He's a bad free throw shooter. I think Hunter said he's 58%, right?
Yeah.
But I was saying, even though he's bad, you had other guys on the court that were worse free throw shooters than him. So like, I just trust him with the ball. But saying for you, Beck, what I was saying before is like, I don't hate the play call at all, what they drew up. I just think Shire could have did a way better job. I mean, obviously I'm not in the huddle, but I think they, like Beck said, those guys shouldn't have been that deep. They could have been 10 feet closer and they still would have been wide open. Like make the pass a little bit easier. And like I said, I don't hate Boozer having the ball in that situation. They drew up like a perfect break the press play, but he just kind of panicked. He, like Beck said, all you got to do is pump once and go around. Like the game's over.
Or hold it.
Yeah, or hold
there were 10
or literally
seconds
shoot
at the beginning.
on
They
your
didn't have to
own
get over half
basket,
court.
shoot on your own basket, throw the ball into the sky.
Throw it into the stands.
Anything you
And
could
you
have
probably
did
win
would have
the
been
game.
better than what he did.
or maybe call timeout after the free throw. Like they didn't draw that up.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't I would
Did they have
make
timeouts left?
I'm not sure.
I mean, they called
think
one
so.
after the shot by Bullens went in.
Right.
So
Yeah, you're right.
That is true.
Yeah, so like same thing that I said, like the play call was there. I just think Shire kind of on that same wavelength calling the timeout. He could have done a better job of preparing them for the moment. He had the right play call, but
That's kind of what I was getting at.
obviously they weren't ready for
They're tight.
the panic of that situation.
And we talked about this on the last pod. I said in the past when Duke teams have lost in the tournament, it's always the same thing. They're tight and they're not ready for the moment. And that's a preparation thing. And more than anything, like tactically on the last play, obviously Caden Boozer's a heady point guard. Like he's a smart player. He doesn't tend to make bad decisions. And in the biggest moment, he makes the worst decision. And some of that just comes down to like a freshman guy who probably, and we have to talk about
18-year-old.
he wasn't thrust into that position until damn near the conference tournament.
Yeah.
This is a guy
He
who
was like an afterthought all year.
yes, this was like a second unit ball handling guy who played like 20 minutes a game.
Maybe that's more to the point why Foster should
Right. And
maybe have been in
honestly,
that spot.
what I was going to get to is like Foster is a 58% free throw shooter, but he stones, man. And he's the guy where he's a terrible free throw shooter and he drills 2 out of 2. And you're just like,
even if he
I'm
misses
not
both,
surprised.
you'd still rather that. You'd
Right.
still rather
But-
him get fouled than miss both.
Yeah, but
What
like
happened?
the only thing I could knock Shire on is the guy is not being prepared for the moment, which it seems time and time again seems to be the case. But at the end of the day, this is a young coach who in his first 4 years has gone to two Elite Eights and a Final Four. Yeah.
2 Elite Eights and 1 Final Four.
And 1 Final Four.
Yeah.
So like there's not much you can be pissed about. The only thing you can say is like even though they've done all that, they not coming away with the title in any of these years is really rough. Especially the way that everything's broken.
Yeah.
I mean, it's forever going to be the year with Cooper.
Yeah.
Flag,
That last
yes.
year,
Yeah.
last year is
honest.
last year is the most
like-
damning year.
That's got to be up there for one of the best teams to never win.
I
the
think
title.
I mean metrically
Like I go back to like Kentucky
metrically, I think it's
2015.
yeah.
Like those are the two that instantly come to my mind of
But
the
even
best.
that team, the Harrison twins were great, but they didn't end up being like NBA players.
I mean, they had Booker.
Whoa,
Carl Anthony
yeah,
Towns.
no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying they didn't have, but this
And
that Duke roster, every starter was an NBA player.
or I forget. I think it's Andrew. Andrew Harrison was the impact player for the 2017 playoff.
Here we go.
Memphis Grizzlies. So
Let's go.
let's be
fucking
serious.
go.
that
No,
block
that
in
Kentucky
overtime
team was
in game
fucking-
No,
two.
they were
stupidly
special. They
good,
were
man.
special. But yes, that's fair. Book and Towns alone is like stupid. But
It's like pretty much not on the same level. 'Cause
no,
they're gonna
Flag
be.
and Con.
Flag is well. I'm saying
It's definitely.
Yo, you get that? I mean, at this point, they're fucking.
Oh, at
At
this
the-
point,
at
I
the
mean, I think
time, I'm
Flag's
saying,
gonna
like,
be like.
obviously. I mean, Towns wasn't a bust by any means. Like he's a great player, multi-time All
Towns
Star.
is great.
But like Flag's probably going to be the more useful pro than Towns. But like at the time, as a prospect, I mean, I put Flag above him, but like Towns was that motherfucker for a while.
Yeah, it's funny that Book was the worst prospect and then ended up being.
Well, I mean, that's because they played 10 guys in a platoon. Like
Yeah.
if he would have gotten to
He
shine
was-
more,
yeah.
I think we would have seen it.
Yeah, That's true. I'm discounting how talented that team was,
They were
yeah,
deeper like they had
yeah, oh
more
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
guys.
no, the platoon thing's why they ended up losing.
Insane. Yeah, he
Well, yeah,
ran it like
that's
Coach
that's
Clark
the
freshman
Calipari
basketball
fucking
shit.
that's the
Special.
Calipari special,
Yeah.
dude.
I mean, it did work. They were 34-0 until they lost.
Until they
So
weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
tough to criticize.
yeah, but I just think at the end of the day, like you can knock him, but his winning percentage right now is like I think 83% as the Duke head coach, which is like
The Shire
the
question
greatest start to a
is
college
tough
coaching career
for
ever.
me because obviously, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I don't think there's any rumblings of him not being the Duke head coach next year. So
Oh
like
no,
I'm
no, that
assuming
would
there's a
be
0% chance he's gone.
that would be
But
moronic.
I I it's almost kind of like Sirianni where it's like some people give him too much blame and too much obviously for way different things. But like
Well, it'd be so funny if he was a Sirianni personality.
no,
Holy fuck.
totally different like personalities and everything. But I mean, I'm not plugged into the Duke fan base like that, but I feel like there's a lot of people that put like all the blame on him. Where sometimes basketball is just basketball. Like, yeah, it's annoying that they've kind of collapsed and crumbled in big moments the way that they have. But also, it's basketball, man. It's the tournament. Like,
Yeah,
it's tough to
and
win one.
UConn did play really well down the stretch.
Yeah,
Like
like they're against one
leading
of the
into
best
that,
coaches ever,
And
like
they got
against a good
championship
team.
DNA. Like, that's real. Like,
yes,
they were going to
Yes.
get back in that game
And they
regardless.
lost on a fucking miracle. Like,
yeah,
you
I'm
gotta
not
get a
saying they're going to
44.
win that game against every team every time, but they're getting back in that. Like, they're making that at least tense.
yes,
Against
yeah,
anyone. Yeah.
yeah.
My question with Shire is I want to see him with the 2023, 2024 talented roster again. I know that he went to the Elite Eight, then they blew like a 12-point lead against NC State.
Yeah,
I want to see him with the team like that's led by like a Kyle Filipowski.
but that's part of the reason why John Shaw will never get fired is he's the best recruiter in the country. He will never
Yeah, they're
have a
gonna be
team.
too good.
He will never have a team with that little talent ever again. He will
I
always
just
have
wonder-
the number one
I
recruiting class
wonder
in the
how much
country.
of that is him and how
It's
much
him. He was the
is
recruiter when Kay was
yeah,
there.
but how much of that gets attributed to just like their Duke? Like people are
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
go to
for sure.
That's
Duke.
what I feel like it is too. And
Yeah,
sure, but
that's what I try to figure out. In my
UNC's
head is
UNC,
like how
and,
much credit. True, fair point.
and they've consistently had better recruiting class than UNC over the last 10 or so years.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
Kentucky hasn't had good classes either. Like
Yeah,
they're another. Yeah, you
because-
have to give them some
Yeah,
credit.
I
at
think the
least.
slack. I think that also because he's the handpicked successor to K, and he did have a lot of input on the teams that K had towards the end too. I just think the rope is so big too.
1,000%.
He would have to have a nightmare
Like
season.
Duke's not gonna be a school that fires a guy after this and
Right.
finds a new like
They've had
he's gonna be there for a
Dude, they've
long
had-
time unless things go like astronomically wrong and they won't.
yes,
it's not
They've
even
had-
astronomically. You got to get it done in the next 5 years.
yeah. Next 5 years, I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like,
probably fair.
if you think about it, Duke, he's the second coach they've had since like 1970 something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like we're talking about.
I mean,
like
you literally have
50
to do
years.
what like Hubie did, missing the tournament as the preseason number one, like shit like that. Like that's the level we need to get to for him
Yeah,
to go.
I
Because I
think-
mean, similar situation, like Roy and Coach K's, that's their handpicked guy. It's interesting.
Hubie, like,
He
I
comes off as kind of like aloof sometimes, as where Shire. I've never once questioned like his basketball intelligence or like ability to be a coach ever.
right, and that's the way he played too. And I think Caleb Wilson obviously is sort of the crown in the Hubie jewel in terms of recruiting. But when you look at some of the other teams that he had, they were lacking in talent. And at a school like UNC, you can't have rosters that aren't talented enough. Like that's.
I mean, yeah, if you take away
that's
the
ridiculous.
miracle championship run where they lost in the championship, but like if you take that away,
Yeah, the next
It's
year though,
really
RJ
bad.
Davis transfers because like some shit happened with like Caleb Love, like
yeah,
his girlfriend,
did.
right?
yeah.
RJ Davis didn't transfer. He finished his career at UNC.
Then who transferred?
I don't know about the transfer, but I like roughly know the story that you're talking about. A real thing.
I thought it was either RJ Davis or Caleb Love transferred
Love transferred to Arizona.
right after that.
Oh, are you
right.
saying Love transferred because RJ Davis did something?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, there could have been shit behind the scenes that we didn't know about. But yeah, I mean, and they did have, what was that? Love, RJ, and then I guess like Manic. But like,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I mean, so it's interesting. I think Duke maybe just in big moments, tenses up. But at the end of the day, it's a Dan Hurley coach team with guys who've won titles. Like Caravan's one of the winningest players in college basketball history. So like I don't think there's too much you can put on it. Maybe we're not giving enough credit to like how much of a miracle that comeback was from UConn and how good they were down the stretch.
Exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
struggle to put this one like on Shire and like, oh, what a collapse by the like they just got beat by a team that's been there before and got a miracle. Like
Yeah.
they got a tough combination of things.
Yeah.
Also, Isaiah Evans has to get a hand up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that I'm glad
handle?
you brought that up because
Yeah.
I wanted to say that. That's
Yeah.
insane that he just stood there.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
I
Do you
do
think it
not-
was just so deep that he didn't think he was gonna pull yet?
Bro, you gotta like. I'd almost.
Yeah,
rather
no,
you
I mean
tap-
it's bad awareness on the clock. I think it's
Yeah.
just like
yeah, he didn't know how
Yeah.
much time was left. I
Yeah.
don't think.
Well-
Because I mean, if he did, he's gotta be. I mean, that has to be the reason.
Yeah.
Like, what's the other one? He didn't feel like it because
he didn't want to foul. Like he didn't want to foul is the only other like
Yeah,
justification
that
you
could be
can
it.
make.
Because if you do foul him
yeah.
from
You look like
40
an
feet
idiot.
out, yeah.
You look
Yeah.
like a fucking
If you
idiot.
foul him on a
True.
40-foot three and they win on 3 free throws.
But also, I mean, just the amount of space that's in between.
Yeah, now that I bring it up, what do you think's worse? Not putting a hand up and he cashes it, or fouling him and
I
he
mean,
gets all
more
3 free throws?
heartbreaking's got to be the free throw
free
version
throws.
of it for
Yeah,
sure.
but like if I'm a coach or like a
But
guy,
yeah,
who's
not
just
even
like,
getting a hand up.
I'm taking effort over.
yeah, at least
effort
you can
and a
say
win.
like he contested a shot and like
Yeah.
It's so
just
tough, though,
got a
'cause I-
little over
Yeah,
aggressive.
because I feel like they'd both be seen as idiotic. At
Yeah,
the
that'd
end.
be like lack of
Like, you're getting
situational
reamed out.
awareness is
Yeah.
Yeah.
like what you would describe.
But at
each
least one
as.
like you just tried too
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, dude, it's just so many things had to go perfectly wrong for that to
Yeah.
happen the way it did. And I will say it's one of the best March Madness endings,
Yeah, it was
especially
unbelievable.
considering it wasn't like a round of 32 between.
I couldn't believe my eyes. Like I literally couldn't
Yeah.
believe my eyes.
It wasn't like a 1 versus 9 like round of
And
32
shout out
game.
to
It's Elite
fucking
Eight,
Hurley,
Duke,
man.
UConn.
Yeah, the stature of the programs, and I mean Hurley's
Yeah,
reaction.
it was
to
everything.
I was gonna say,
like that
wait,
moment as well.
let's get into
Yeah,
that.
that's what I just
Hurley
said.
not
That's what I
getting
just said.
attacked.
Shout out to Hurley because we just simply had to
Yeah.
bring it up. I feel like I've never been a Hurley hater, but I've never like fully loved him either. He can get bitchy and annoying at times, but I love how much of a psychopath he is. This
Yeah.
just brought me fully to Team Hurley. I mean, the ball sack on this guy's unbelievable, dude. The celebration video of just him is cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah,
dude.
where his
He
jacket's,
goes like
down
this
his-
from smiling and happy to literal psycho staring him dead in the eyes and fucking headbutts the ref with 0.4 on the clock. They should have lost the game because of it. And shout out to the ref too for not calling it.
Yeah, that would have been
That's-
such a
that's
bad
a
way
baller
for that to
move.
end.
But the nutsack on Hurley is truly special. Like
Yeah.
that was unbelievable.
Is it nutsack or is that just so dumb? Like if you
Yeah, I
imagine you
mean,
lose that game.
No, it's nutsack, dude. He's aura farming. Like I mean, don't get me wrong.
But that's
it's
what I'm
stupid.
saying. Like the
Don't get me
ego
wrong,
on you
dumb
to
by him, but
the
like
ego on you to risk
confidence
it.
in
and
the
it
goal.
may get him like eventually down the line. But
Totally. I mean, it has got him
Yeah.
at moments, but the confidence and the gall to do that,
Yeah.
it, like
Yeah.
you have no choice but to respect
and,
it.
and it bleeds into it undoubtedly bleeds into
100%.
his
That's why
players.
people
Oh, yeah.
gets these guys and they love
Yeah.
playing for him.
Yeah,
And,
I
that
definitely
you can
think.
like keep guys who are like help build your program over 4 years, which
Yeah.
is something that like Duke lacks.
Yes.
And
1000%.
that to me
Well-
is like if you want to make a knock on Shire, it's that you're not. There's no nurture
how are
of
you
talent
gonna
of all.
how are you gonna keep
I don't really
Con
think Shire can
Knipple
do
and
any.
Cooper
Yeah,
Flag?
they're-
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
you
but,
can
like,
keep Alex Caravan because he's like a second
them
round pick.
recruit a guy like that.
They've kept like Caleb Foster is a junior. They've kept some guys, and Gongba's a sophomore. Like they've kept guys. Isaiah Evans is a sophomore. They had like 5 guys on this team. That
more of
were
a point to have Caleb
returners.
Foster and a point.
I think
They might have
or a
had
point
more
at that-
returners on this team than like most of the
Hunter,
teams they
that's
played.
more of a point than anything to have Caleb Foster on the court.
Yeah, sure, but
in that
that's a
last
different
sequence.
thing. That's a
Yeah.
different thing entirely. But yeah, what I'm saying is like you can't knock him for not having Cooper Flag come back. Like
No, I
I'm
think
not
I feel like
no,
I mean,
yeah,
Beck, you
you're-
correct me for
No, you're
if I'm
recruiting
wrong,
a
but I feel
lesser
like
talented.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Lesser
I feel
guys
like
that
you're
will
saying
stay
it's more of a
longer.
Yes,
recruiting
yes.
philosophy thing. Like
That's
rather
interesting.
than bringing as many 5-stars as you can, get some like impact
But that's-
guys that you know aren't dipping
that
out.
was a
And-
K thing too, though. We have to
It-
remember
Mhm.
that was Coach K too. That's
Totally.
baked into Duke.
Yeah.
I agree. I especially believe it to be true though, at like the point guard position.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Coach K had a guy like
Well,
Nolan Smith.
This
Nolan
is a
Smith was the
discussion,
guy who was there for
Yes.
4 years.
and this is a discussion we need to have: is Duke hasn't had a real point guard since
Yes.
Trey Jones in the
Hmm.
COVID season. They haven't had a real, and you could say what you want about Jeremy Roach, but like even he's like just a small combo scorer, dude. Like,
They're scarred from Trayvon Duval.
yeah, geez. But like,
Thought he was going to be
and I will
special.
say they have a 5-star point guard coming in. I think his name's Darren Rippey next year, and I think Caden, after another year in the system, I think he's going to be much better next year and like a full season under his belt. So they will have point guard
Yeah,
stability next
Caden
year.
Booster might be the best
I was going to
thing that
say,
ever
if
I
he
happened.
think I
sticks
think
around for a little bit, like
yeah.
he's going to be a nice college player.
Yeah.
I think next year he's going to be very, very good. The shooting is tough with him because he hit some big threes in the tournament, but it was like
You
you
can
can't.
get by with
You,
his shooting.
Gamer, he'll probably learn from this moment.
He's
Like a guy here,
1000%.
like
Oh,
completely. If he ends up winning the championship at Duke and he's a 3 or 4 year guy,
Wow, Beck's starting
it'll
the
remind me of
DPD already.
It'll
The fan
remind me of
fiction?
Marcus
Special.
Page. Marcus Page is a guy you could.
He reminds me a lot of
struggle
Quinn
as a
Cook.
shooter.
Remember Quinn Cook at Duke?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He
And
reminds me a
Quinn Cook-
ton of Quinn Cook.
And Quinn Cook was a guy who endured 2 huge upset. Well, he lost to Lehigh and
Yeah,
Mercer
that's what I'm
within
saying.
a 3-year period.
And he was a
then
4-year guy. Yeah.
And got the job done in 2015.
And
Like,
say what you want about that 2015 squad. There were guys way more talented than Quinn Cook, even though he did end up being an NBA player for a bit, NBA champion. But he was the heart and soul of that team in 2015.
Yeah.
His shooting was ridiculous in that last year, which I think is probably the difference between him and Caden is like,
Definitely.
I don't
He
think
was like a
Caden,
sniper.
yeah, I don't think Caden can unlock that like last part that Quinn had.
He can be the steadying piece, though, like for
But
sure.
yeah, and he might even be a better playmaker than Quinn ever was. So yeah,
I think so.
I think that's the
Yeah.
archetype for him. And in the future, they have to prioritize point guard because, like,
Yeah.
Beck, as you said, you were relying last year on Sion James to bring the ball up and honestly flag a lot. And this year it was Foster for a while, who's really a 2, and then he
And-
gets hurt, and then you bring in.
I mean, who was the
freshman
guy
loser.
for their 2019 team with Zion and Barrett? At that point?
Trade.
Was it
Oh,
Trey?
And they
Jones?
didn't even really need a point guard that
That-
much
was that
because
Trey yet?
Barrett, Zion, and Reddish had the ball so much.
I think it was Trey.
I still want a table set with the.
Yes.
No,
Like,
for sure.
yeah.
I'm just saying I feel like it was less important on
Yeah.
those teams because those guys dominated the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just 3 absolute studs.
Yeah, it was Trey Jones. That was his freshman year, though.
That's a crazy team, man.
Yeah, dude. When you look at it, it was R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, Cam Reddish, Trey Jones, Marcus Bolden, who.
No, I mean, it reminds me a lot of this team. Like,
Alex
fuck,
O'Connell.
every step of the way, it felt like they were going to get upset from the round.
Yeah.
that
Oh,
they
yeah.
drew on, and then they capped out at the Elite Eight against the, it's
They lost
A
to
good
Michigan
team,
State,
yeah.
right, that
Yeah.
year? Yeah. So, I mean, say what you will, but at the end of the day, you just tip your cap to Hurley and the boys. That's an amazing comeback and one that we're going to remember forever. Let's move to Purdue, Arizona, which I thought Purdue actually acquitted themselves really well in this one. I really thought Arizona was just going to blow them out of the gym, but hey, credit to Purdue, stuck in there, really made it difficult for Arizona, I thought. And then Arizona pulls away late.
The second half is a complete blowout, but I'm surprised.
Yeah, similar to the Utah State
Yeah.
game, honestly. But what we
surprised
see
that-
in that one?
Arizona just has guys, man. More talent. Like the Purdue, again, say what you want to say, and I'm a big detractor of them as well. But Painter is a guy who built up a program there and an identity with these guys, and these are, I mean, a lot of 4-year guys, but talent and the cohesion of this talent that Tommy Lloyd has built this year, just spoke in the second half to get outscored by 20 in the second half. I can't believe Purdue was up 7 at the half in this game. Like, that shocks me.
Unbelievable.
But Arizona found something out at half and they adjusted because their physicality was different in the second half. And I ultimately think that is what, Purdue couldn't overcome. It's just the physicality at all 5 positions out there.
Yeah, this was a sad one for me. I had Purdue like plus 6.5 or 7, whatever it was, I think. Obviously come out of the first half feeling great. And then you just watch them slowly get strangled to death by Arizona. There was absolutely nothing they could do in the second half. This Arizona team just feels like they're going to outlast everyone. Like they are so
Are they going to outlast Michigan?
I don't know. They're just so damn relentless for 40 minutes. I mean, we saw it in this game. A lot of teams can hang with them and even get some wins on them throughout 30 minutes. But 40 minutes is
Yeah.
it's tough seeing this team lose, man. They just lock shit up in the second half consistently
It's just the way
so
they
far.
close games, dude. Like
It's
Jaden
unbelievable.
Bradley is so
There was
nails.
nothing. There was nothing Purdue could do on offense. Like
Yeah.
they were taking every possession down to the end of the shot clock. Like they couldn't get
I mean, they're
any.
outmatched in terms of
Yeah,
talent. Like,
Yeah.
athleticism, like everything you name it. Arizona just had them on lockdown in jail. There was nothing they could do, and I was trying to watch with optimistic and hopeful eyes as that second half was going on, and you just knew they were dead.
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about is going forward now. So obviously you lose
Braden, Fletch, and
Braden, Fletch, and
TKR.
Kaufman Wren.
Yeah.
I just
I
saw a
mean, that's
stat.
the identity of the team.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the
That
identity
is
of
the
Matt
team.
Painter, bro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt Painter has 501 wins as Purdue coach. That trio accounts for 117 of them. That
Yeah,
trio is
it's going to be
20% of
interesting to
Matt
see them
Painter's
next year,
wins at
man.
Purdue.
Uh, I agree, Hunter, but like, I still watching this team,
Were
I
they also
can't.
that good?
I can't help but feel
No,
2019 was
but
just such a superior team, and that had none of these guys on their team. Carson Edwards, Ryan Klein,
oh right. You
big,
love this team.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
big,
Edwards alone is
yeah,
He
like
was
more
so
leagues
explosive
special.
above
guard.
anyone
Yeah,
on this team.
you're gonna need like an
But that
Ivy
team
level recruit pre-Edie.
but that team didn't have their floor wasn't as high. That team's
No,
I
I
think
agree.
ceiling was higher, but
I mean,
that
he
this
was like
team lost
Edwards
like
had to
10
score like
games.
26, but he
Yeah.
just did.
Yes.
I
I
forget
think
their
that
wing's
team's
name too, but they had a really good wing. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could say floor, but I mean, the floor thing comes down to cohesion. Those guys being there for 4 years, I just think he can. I think they need an explosive guard recruit, which like a Carson Edwards was, which a Jaden Ivey was. I think they kind of got away with from that just because they had Braden Smith and he was a rock for them. But I think they put too much trust in him running the whole show.
yeah. I like CJ Cox. I think he's interesting. So we'll see if he's a bigger part of their puzzle going forward. But yeah, man, this game really sets up a special matchup between Arizona and Michigan. But before we get to that, Braden Burries has really stepped up in March. And when we talked about the Ryan, I think when you had a little bit of an absence there, we were talking about that tier of prospects when we were talking about like the Keaton Wagler, Kingston Flemings, Acuff, like that tier, sort of like the 5 to 9 range. How do you think that Burries fits in? Because I think he's a weird case because he's I think more polished maybe than you'd say for some of the other guys, but then I also wonder if maybe he doesn't have some of the offensive upside.
What changed your tune? Because you were him over Acuff like a
No, I
week
still
ago.
am. I still am him
Okay.
over Acuff, but I just don't know where he fits. Acuff's such we already talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah.
like I really don't know where I have him.
I think Acuff's probably got the ceiling argument over him, but if I'm Burries, I'm basically looking at like Carter Bryant and just kind of trying to mold myself into that. Bryant's a little bit bigger than him, but
yeah.
Burries is pretty stout for a guard. I like his game. I definitely think Acuff's the more upside swing, but I would probably say that Burries is the more sure bet to be
Yeah, because the defense is so good.
unimpactful. That's what I'm saying. That's kind of why I'm likening him to Carter Bryant, and obviously because Bryant came from Arizona.
Yeah.
But the same way that I loved Bryant in the draft because I just see so many NBA kind of skills with him is kind of where I'm at with him. I just want him to shoot threes more. Honestly, I think he should shoot more because I like what I've seen from him from
Yeah.
beyond the arc.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 40% shooter
Yeah.
Yeah.
from three.
Yeah, I guess my thing with and Beck and I also talked about this a little bit before, but my thing with that whole tier of guys is the creator guys. So the Acuffs, the Wogglers, and even Phylon. Those guys to me are so much harder to incorporate into a team than the sort of the Flemings, Burries,
Hmm.
those guys. So that's been the hardest part for me on my big board is like what do I value more? Do I value more the impact guys who also maybe have upside to turn into better offensive creators and playmakers? Or do I turn more to the guys who can be like engines? Which if you want star potential, you would prefer an engine. It's just
Right.
also you have to weigh the defense. So for me, it's been sorting through how much do I outweigh, like how awesome is their offensive game
I
versus
think
like,
it's totally like dependent on the team that's
well, that
drafting.
too.
Because
Yeah.
like if you have guys, give me Burries. But if you have nothing, I'm taking Acuff 1,000%.
Mhm.
Like I'm taking the guy that could end up being Damian Lillard versus the guy that might cap out at, I don't know, some 3-and-D wing. Name your
But,
favorite one.
Yeah.
wait, both of you, would you describe Colin Knipple like? Do you think he can be a star right now?
I think he is a star. Yeah.
Okay, then like, why can't Braden like?
Well,
Why
I
would
don't
you
think
project?
his like
Con was so
offensive
much
game is that
Con was so much
creative
more
or
polished as like a
yeah.
playmaker. I don't know. Burries, it's also weird because Burries is playing off of Bradley a lot, which like I think in a different situation he would be on the ball a lot more. So we're not seeing the full version of
Yeah,
Braden Burries yet, which is also weird, and you kind of have to bake that in. But yeah, I mean, you're right. In a situation where he has the ball a lot more, he could just have a much higher ceiling than maybe we think.
I think it's just a lot more translatable to become a star that way now.
Yeah. I mean that could be true too. Like
Yeah,
maybe we're just overthinking like we think you need to have this dynamic offensive game that is just so overpowering where it might just be like if you can shoot the piss out of the ball, you're good at everything on the floor, you can dribble pass shoot, you can defend. Maybe that's just an easier path to
yeah.
like being an all-star.
That to me like feels like the answer, and why I'm very like I feel confident in Burries more than Wagler and what's his face.
Flemings.
Yes,
You seem pretty out on Flemings.
I'm just very skeptical, especially of him being like on the ball as much as he is. Like I don't think any team would give him that rope. And then as an off-ball guy, he just kind of feels like he's misused that way. I love his explosion. I think his fast twitch is like amazing. I think he's got to become a better shooter, and I think the lack of size is an be more of an issue for him than like it would be for Burris.
If I was
Aren't they like
to
the same
like
size?
make the
They
case,
are. That's why I'm saying
Oh,
it's
I
more of an
see.
it'd be more of an issue for Fleming's
He's
than
more
if I
frail
was
though.
to
yeah.
make the case for Burries, I know I mentioned Carter Bryant, but I also kind of look at sort of the way we talked about VJ. Like when you brought
Yeah.
up the idea that he's playing off these people and like a different environment may show that he can do more. I feel like we kind of had similar conversations about VJ. It was like, what does
Yeah.
he really do with the ball in his hand at Baylor? And many people said, well, Baylor was horrible and they didn't put him in
Jeremy
good
Roach.
situations. Obviously, Arizona, much better team, much
Yeah.
better system overall, but just in that idea that maybe when he does have a little more freedom and a little more room to operate. We've already seen VJ grow a ton. He's exceeded our expectations for what his offensive game would look like. He's not as quite elite an athlete as VJ because VJ is obviously like a special tier of athlete, but he's a good athlete, just not as like vertically explosive as VJ.
Yeah, I mean, you just made the exact case I made about Flemings actually when Beck and I were talking
True.
earlier.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on. I think those guys profile more as that type of prospect, which as we just talked about in the modern NBA, those guys, especially if you, the thing with me with VJ was, and it wasn't even the playmaking because in the back half, I thought I saw enough that I was like, okay, I think it's translatable. The form was good, the mechanics were good, and his percentages weren't even great shooting. These guys Flemings was 38% from three, and Burries was, what was he? He was right around
40.
40%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
so
40.
like those guys already have the
Yep.
productivity. You don't even have to like see any potential with that. That's there. So yeah, I see them as those types of prospects, which I'm personally, I think those are just surer bets, and I kind of so that's why so Flemings and Burries I see as like that VJ kind of second guard guy, and then Wagler, Phylon, and Acuff are the on-ball guys where to me those kinds of guys are just such big swings because if you miss, it's so bad.
Yeah, and I think the VJ talk kind of makes perfect sense because I think if you drop VJ in this draft rather than last year, he's not going third overall.
Might
Like
go
he's
one.
probably going somewhere 6 to 9, like these guys are.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. It's
If
it's
you
tough.
mean
You can definitely see like the pathway for him to maybe be better than the credit we're giving him.
yeah. It's so interesting because the other thing is, I mean, we don't really know at all what NBA GMs think besides like what we've heard about like reports, but I really just want to see what the Caleb Wilson like market is because I think that's gonna. I
I
think the
think he's
draft.
going high.
That's what I think the draft hinges on where he goes. Because if you see Caleb Wilson in the top 2 or 3,
I think I'd be
that
shocked if
changes
he
the
didn't go
whole
top
draft.
3. I think I'd be shocked if he didn't go top 3.
I wouldn't be shocked if he goes 4. That would be like chalky.
I think I'd be surprised if he doesn't go in the top 3 at this point.
Caleb
Really?
Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I think Boozer drops to 4, but it depends
I
on who
really don't
drafts.
think Boozer.
Depends what teams pick where.
I'd be surprised if Boozer drops below 2. Honestly, I don't. I think
Really?
I think NBA GMs are spooked by Peterson. I think they're dumb for it. But
I think that'd be really stupid.
so do I. But I think
I agree,
I think
but like
we're
the combination of Peterson and Boozer, there's enough range of the way people feel on them for where I feel like Caleb Wilson will end up going like within the top 3. Just because
that's
the
that's
thing about
exactly where
Wilson
I'm at.
though is you're making a bigger bet on Wilson than on either of those guys. And even I'm considering
the
like
bet feels like a great odds to hit though. Like
Yeah,
all
I'm
his
feeling
skills
good.
But he
are-
doesn't- he doesn't-
I'm a Wilson fan.
So am I. I'm a huge Wilson fan, and I'd be willing to make the bet. But to this point, he doesn't stretch the floor, and he's a difficult guy to space right. And if he's not Giannis as like a downhill guy, and he's not really a playmaker, he's a good passer. I think that's part of it that I'm excited by with him. But if he doesn't expand on those parts of his game, then I think you'd be worried about it. So I think you're making a bet with any one of those 3. Like
Definitely.
the boozer, it's the athleticism bet and like the weird fit.
The
With
offensive
Peterson,
like
it's that
creation.
what's going on with his head. Is he injured? Is he ever going to be the same athlete he ever was? And then Wilson is like, can he ever be even like a passable shooter? And
Yeah, is he going to be more than like Kenneth Farid?
yes,
Basically,
and
the question I feel like teams will
yeah,
have.
and I think the little turnaround middy's like smooth enough that I'm very confident that he's got at least a little bit of that. But I mean, there's no 3-point game, so like that's not even.
I just feel like he's
The
too good
defense
of an
is gonna-
athlete not
Yes,
to find
I love
any
the
special
roaming on
defensive
defense, yeah.
prospect.
Yeah.
And the defense gives kind of credence to like he might be a 5 and be just a menace. Like
That's the way I feel.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
he could be a Jaren
1,000%.
Jackson 5. Yeah,
yeah, and imagine like a good guard and like
And he can't
I'm
rebound
just
worse
throwing
than
out a name,
Jaren.
but like him and like
Right.
Trey Young, him and Trey
It's not
Young together,
possible.
dude, or someone along those
Well,
lines. He would
that's what
eat
like
offensively.
yeah.
And I think he's too good of an athlete not to develop even a little bit of a 3, dude. Andre Drummond's shooting like 36% from 3 this year.
That is so
I think
special.
Caleb Wilson can give you like 1 to 2 attempts from the corner a night and build
Yeah.
off that.
And
Yeah.
back to Jaren Jackson point. Jaren Jackson shot threes like this. And
he
was
can
a
make
great
them.
3-point shooter. In the
He was
second half,
special,
so-
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess what I want to say is like, even though I believe, because I also, similarly to VJ, I think the mechanics are good with Caleb, and I think at minimum, I see him as like a KG. Like that's my optimal outcome for him, where I think the defense is going to be ridiculous. I
That'd be
think,
pretty
That was
fucking good.
That was a comp for Jaren too. That's why I'm
Yeah.
laughing.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're similar as prospects. Like they have the same tool set, except maybe you could say Jaren was a little bit of. A
I
better
mean,
shooter.
he just feels like to me he's Jaren without any of the clumsiness.
I think he's
And
less-
if you're
He did break his hand twice, like dunking in practice. He's a little clumsy.
Yeah.
But like the Jaren clumsiness is on like a different.
I think he's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
different
less polished offensively player than Jaren, but like
Not no. He's already a
tiers
superior
above as
passer.
an athlete.
He is a better passer.
Like superior.
But-
Dude,
Yeah, true.
Jaren
Well,
has no
Jaren-
fucking
yeah,
passing
scoring
IQ
the
at
ball.
all.
Jaren could already space the floor a little bit coming out.
Yeah, that's
like-
that's
Yeah,
kind of
right,
what I'm getting
immediately.
at. But
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
a way better athlete to me than Jaren.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's
Like, not
that's why I
even
said
kinda
Giannis.
close.
Like he's like a
Yeah.
stupid athlete. Like it's
That's like kind of the mold
yeah. So
that you'd.
but
that
but
you'd
then if
want.
he's your Giannis, then I think I don't know. That I guess that gets back to what I'm saying is like that's a huge gamble. Like if you're betting on that upside versus like a
You're betting on
lesser-
upside.
Yeah,
with
but I
him,
think the-
there's a
I think
secure
the floor is
with him.
pretty
Yeah,
solid.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's why I lean him over Boozer because while the Boozer floor may be like a little bit higher, I don't think it's high enough to
To a-
offset because I think
on a
Boozer's
way-
got crazy ceiling.
On a way different level,
Yeah.
it feels like Nerlens Noel like at 1. Like it was a complete bet on upside, but like there's a floor with him
Yeah.
too. That people
Yeah,
like.
way worse draft, but at worst,
Yeah.
he was going to be
Yeah.
a good defensive center, and he was for
But
a
that's
long time.
but don't you think the floor of that?
I'm not saying his floor is like what Noel was.
No, no, I understand. I understand.
I'm just using it as
I'm
like
saying the
comparison
floor
to
of
how
that
GMs
archetype of
felt.
player versus the floor of the archetype that Boozer is, I think, is lower. I think the floor with Wilson's
A
lower than
little bit.
Wood.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just don't think
Yeah.
it's different enough
Like
to
if you have
where, because I just like the upside of
yeah,
Wilson
I do.
quite a
I
bit
love the
more
upside,
than
and
Boozer.
I've been toying with the idea of moving him up. But my thing with him is if he never spaces the floor, and it's just a very athletic rim protecting big who's kind of like an awkward, like in the same way we talk about Boozer being an awkward fit. If you can't space the floor, what is his offensive game other than like just being like a run and dunk guy?
I mean, like Giannis, if you're not using him as a five, you'd have to pair him with someone like Brooke Lopez,
Yeah, but
a center
that's the
like
same.
that.
That's
That's
what I'm
just a
saying. I guess
sniper.
it's like the same conversation you had
I feel
about
like lob
Booz.
threats in this day and age still hold so much weight. Like
For sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But are you taking a lob threat like two?
I just don't think that's what's going to happen.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Right.
just
I
cool
agree with
betting.
Ryan.
I'm cool
Yeah.
betting on the outside game coming a little bit.
I think it's fair. I'm not sure I buy him having an outside game. I buy the mid range, I think. And I think that's something that he'll be able to hang his hat on. But yeah, I don't know. He's another really this draft, dude. This is one that like
It's
rattles
unbelievable.
my brain because you go through every tier of players and it's like there's so many small details that I think could
Yeah.
shift your whole board.
And the whole lottery is like
Yeah.
guys we've had the microscope on for the last month,
Yes.
which is like
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
than
I
ever
mean,
before. There's
Yeah,
usually
it's all
overseas guys.
tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that is missing from the class is like the LeBron Wemby level number one. But after that, it's like the strongest class I can remember
Yeah.
in a
think you could
while.
I think
I can't remember
depending-
there being a draft, a recent member where there's not a European guy shoved in her face.
There, well, what's the who's the dude that's supposed to go like 10?
That's what I'm saying. That
Uh,
like there's usually a guy in the top
right,
five who's
up
like,
in the
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. I also think DeBonta and Peterson, you could convince yourself that their ceilings are like maybe flag level. You know what I mean?
I was
Like,
thinking about that in my head, but I still feel like Flag was a better prospect.
Oh,
If
he's
they were on the
definitely a
same
better
draft, I
prospect.
think Flag's going one for sure.
yes, but I think, oh, dude, DeBonta.
At least I would take Flag one
Yeah,
for sure.
I would too.
And I think that'd be consensus
Yeah,
mostly.
I think if Peterson had a different college season, you could maybe debate
Yes.
that.
Yeah. If Peterson just showed up and looked exactly like he did in high school, then I think there we'd be having a discussion.
Because my thing with Peterson, and I guess before we move on from this, my one thing with Peterson is if he's just Shea and like he had a weird college year and then he's just the engine of perennial contenders and we just overlooked it because he had like cramps for a couple months, then I'm going to feel like a dumbass not putting him
I'm
in.
not totally sold that he's not number one overall
That's
at all. I
and
lean to Bonsa, but I'm not. If you said I'm going to take Peterson one, I'd say okay.
He's
Like,
my
that's
two.
a normal decision.
He's my two.
I think he's most people's too, but
Yeah.
and I think he's probably, I honestly think he might go 3 in real life.
I really don't. I mean, it depends because like the Pacers seem to have a boner for Cam Boozer, so they end up 2, and Devonta goes 1 to whoever, and they end up 2. Like, yeah, I could see it
Dude,
unless all that.
Peterson's the biggest no-brainer to the like. If you look
I know.
Pacers to me,
I
he's the
trust
biggest
me.
no-brainer.
Dude, him playing off Halliburton. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Dude,
With Siakam and
I even think-
Zubac already.
I just love their ability to run 3 guard lineups with that.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Their guard
or if you go to
rotation would be
Bonsa, if
disgusting.
you go to Bonza, if you're Indiana, then you have the 2 wings that are big enough to match
Well, yeah,
the,
him too.
the
I'd be
Celtics
I'm
wings.
assuming that he like Devonta would be gone.
Yeah, right.
Like assuming they
Say
had
say
the
Booze
2 pick.
goes. Say it's like a shitty team 1 and they go Booze, and then it's Indiana 2.
Oh my god, if a team picked Booze 1.
I don't think that's like off the cards, dude.
Oh my god, that'd be
kinda don't
dumb.
either.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
man.
I really don't think it's off the cards,
I
especially
do.
teams that are.
I don't think. I think there's like no chance. But I've been wrong many times. And NBA teams do crazy shit, man.
I have it in my head that DeBonsa's just going to Utah. That's so set in stone to me.
Yeah.
That I just
I
can't
mean, to
shake it.
BYU, yeah, it's like such a
Yeah.
connection that's hard to ignore.
So like I don't know, but yeah.
But he went to BYU for money. It's not like he.
That's 100%.
He went,
Yeah.
but he went to the high school was funded by Ryan Smith too.
Yeah,
And
it's
he's the owner
it's
of the Jazz.
narrative.
It's
It's
like
the
he's
narrative
been-
ball
Fair
for
enough.
sure.
Fair
So
enough.
like he's just been in like the Ryan Smith
Yeah, this
system.
could
No, I'm
be
a
this
Ryan
could be
Smith
a
guy, trust me.
backroom Adam deal also.
I'm a Ryan Smith guy. So
This
I
could
am.
totally be a backroom Adam agreement
let's go.
with Ryan Smith.
I'm a Ryan Smith guy.
Oh, he's trying to make Utah like the new
Yeah, I mean,
Silicon
fuck.
Valley. So
If that's what
like,
you want to do with your cash,
yeah.
there's been people do way worse shit with their
Yeah,
money.
I can't knock it.
Yeah, that's pretty special. And then obviously Michigan lays an absolute ass whooping on the Tennessee Volunteers. Don't really need to touch on that
Yeah,
one.
I mean, it was the
Tennessee,
least intriguing elite game easily, and it was like Tennessee was the most undeserving.
that's
This
the
was the
thing.
Tennessee team I expected to see the whole tournament. Like I was
Right.
surprised by how good they looked because I really didn't think they were
Before
good
the
at all.
game, did you almost trick yourself that they had something special going?
No, not at
Yeah,
all. No, not at
I
all.
almost
slightly,
did.
slightly. Not that they
I
would
didn't I
win,
didn't
but
I
not
didn't
that they
go
would win,
all
but they
in.
could maybe sneak like the 10-point
Yeah,
cover.
closer game.
No,
Um,
I just I think they were so outmatched, but
Well, yeah.
I think my disrespect for Rick Barnes just overall is a little bit too much. Three straight Elite Eights. He's ran into three buzzsaws too. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
2023
Yeah.
Purdue with them, like the version of Edie that was in that tournament.
prime
They
Edie.
came very close too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that game. And then last year was Houston, right? That they
Believe
lost.
so.
In the Elite Eight.
Yeah, that's a great team that they ran into last year. And then this Michigan team, like they played two of the top four teams in Ken Palm, like overall, in Purdue 2 years ago, and then Michigan this year. I mean, that's a tough draws. I think Barnes like will eventually get it done if he has more talent, hopefully. I'm not saying like I'm not rooting for it or anything, but like would be kind of cool. Like
Oh,
I
Beck's a
love
Rick
actually happen.
Barnes guy.
I love that at the end you want to, not that I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, like
He demands
yeah,
respect for Ricky B.
yeah. I do feel
He
like
probably
I've
does
been a little
deserve
bit
more
harsh on
credit
He
him.
than-
probably does
yeah.
deserve a little bit more respect.
I mean, he's like how many
what he's done is not all that different than
Yeah.
Shire. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Shire's got to the
Well,
Final
he-
Four, but
so did he had a
no, haven't they never made the Final Four? Isn't that the whole deal?
Yeah, Tennessee definitely has. He might have at
he
Texas.
didn't he have the, was he the
Uh,
yes. He had
He might
I
have
think
had
he
one at
has
Texas early on.
Oh,
He
like
does.
99
He does.
point-
2003. He had one.
oh, that's
yeah.
plumber ball.
yeah.
That's plumber ball.
Yeah, 2003 Texas. It was the Syracuse. It was the Mello title year, especially.
Yeah, watching this game it hurt my soul, man, and just hurt my soul for Iowa State losing the way they did without Jefferson and getting out rebounded by 20 and missing every single free throw. Like, not that Iowa State would have beat Michigan. I definitely am clear on that they wouldn't have. But I
Would've
would
been a
have
better matchup.
they would have certainly given us a better fight at full
Yeah.
strength if everyone was healthy. So that bummed me out. But yeah, I mean, I was just about to say I don't know really who has a chance against this Michigan team, but then again, yeah, I think they're about to see the one team that does have a chance with Arizona.
Beck sent a crazy tweet in the chat.
Holy shit. That's not a fake account?
No, that's Big CC.
Oh my god.
shout
that
out
is big
Colin
bro
Coward.
CC. Beck, send that in the
Uh,
other group chat.
but
That's
no, I agree.
unbelievable.
I was trying to hold my laughter while you were talking.
Yeah,
That's
so was I.
unbelievable.
It popped up. So I have my iMessage notifications on my laptop, and it just popped up on the side of the screen while you were talking. But no,
For
I
those-
agree. I think
For
Iowa
those
State.
uninitiated, Colin Coward tweeted, "Honest and raw LeBron is my favorite LeBron." Speaking
Let's
about
go.
the video that LeBron was featured in with
I
Pablo
refuse
Sports.
to say that out loud.
Great video,
Somebody else.
insane tweet. Honest and raw LeBron.
Oh.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
We got Ben
We're
Simmons.
good. We're good over here.
LeBron. We got Ben.
That's the go-to clip, man.
Special.
That was special. That like at the time, that wasn't like. I mean, it was still
Wasn't
crazy,
insane.
but it wasn't like.
Yeah, and we're like 10 years after that now.
Yeah, he's still
LeBron's
cooking.
still doing it.
And the Lakers are looking good.
Incredibly
But
special.
Ryan, I think you're right. I think Iowa State at minimum would have matched up better with Michigan and would have been more of like, I don't know though, because I said they were too physically imposing for Tennessee, and then that clearly wasn't the case. So maybe they just would have gotten blown out too, but you would
They
think
probably
they'd,
lose handedly, but definitely not down 30
Yeah.
the entire game.
yeah.
Their
I'm just-
offense is like too talented when
I'm
everyone's
just-
healthy.
Yeah. I'm just so shocked that team that I watched play Miami, Ohio and UVA and didn't wow me at all. Ended up just blowing out Iowa State. I
Yeah.
still can't
I
believe
mean,
that
Iowa
happened.
State truly played one of the worst
Yeah, they were
basketball
terrible.
games down the stretch that you could imagine. That game would have been so different if Jefferson played, man. Hurts my heart.
I mean,
They missed him so bad.
are we really sitting here right now, though, and we're in the Final Four? We can honestly say Howard might have given Michigan their biggest test.
They
Like,
did, dude.
No, it's
They
not a
they
crazy take at
actually
all.
did.
yeah.
That was a
You're like
4-point game at the half.
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar to the Alabama game, but like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Howard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, honestly, shout out to Howard. And is that the smallest ending margin of victory that they've had in the tournament?
I think the
certainly,
Alabama game was
certainly smaller
20.
than Tennessee.
The
No,
Alabama game
Bama
was
was
20.
23. It's smaller
Yeah.
because that was 21.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
crazy. That's a good point.
it was 23 against St. Louis and 33 against Tennessee. The
Yeah.
smallest margin of
Jesus
victory was a
Christ.
16 seed, dude.
And during the game, it was the most game for
Yeah,
the
dude,
longest, too.
Yeah. Well, because that happened because that game was later than the Duke Siena game, and I was like,
Yeah.
did these 16 seeds
Yeah,
like
are
have
we
the
doing
juice
this
this
again?
year?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Michigan, absolute buzzsaw. I think that there's some stat that they're the first team in some number of years that has scored. It might be the first team ever that had 90 plus points and 20 plus
Yes.
point wins in each of their first 4 games of the tournament. So they are historically dominant right now, running into an Arizona team that looks very, very good as well and matches up pretty well against them. But let's get into our Final Four previews and picks. Let's start with the first game on the agenda. Illinois, the 3 seed versus the 2 seed UConn. I think this one's really, really interesting. I could see either way. Who do you guys have in this one?
What's the spread on this game, just out of curiosity?
Illinois minus 2.5, right?
Really?
Vandal.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I
Illinois.
took UConn money line literally instantly before
Yeah, I
the
like
line
that.
went down because I figured a lot of money would come in on UConn and it would go the other way. But definitely surprised at that spread. I like UConn here, just kind of riding with the Hurley and the passion and the experience of this unit. I just feel like they're going to be such a tough out. And I like Illinois a lot. I think Illinois is very good, but ultimately, do they match the talent of Duke? Probably not. I feel like it's going to take kind of a perfect game from them to beat UConn, whereas UConn, kind of similar to what they had with Duke for a half, they definitely weren't playing their best basketball, but they just grinded it out. And I feel like that's ultimately going to be what wins out here.
I'm so torn on both of these games. There's not much you can take from their first matchup, which is really tough because we talked about like Wagler
Completely
only
different
played,
game, yeah.
Yeah, Wagler only played 13 minutes. And an underrated thing also that happened in that first game, like Terrace Reed.
Yeah,
he-
non-factor.
Yeah, and he missed the 4 surrounding games with it, and he played in this one though, and he really struggled. I think that possibly could be like something that you might see in this game too, just because Illinois
Yeah,
has two
him
7-footers.
struggling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I also kind of feel like it's not the version of Terrace Reed that you're going to get in this game, and I think that's the thing to watch. I'm going UConn as well, championship
Wow.
DNA.
Yep.
I like this Illinois team a lot.
I thought you would have been on Illinois. I pegged you for the Illinois.
I
pick.
gotta trust. I have to ride with the UConn team here against kind of a Illinois team that doesn't have like premier top end talent compared to the other blue bloods. The way I see this going is UConn outlast a tough Illinois team here, and it's another gritty game, and then they get dog walked in the championship by whoever wins the Michigan Arizona game. That's what I envision, but I'm taking UConn in this game.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think the other thing that was different about that game, and you talked about Wagler, which I think is the biggest thing, is not only did he only play, I think you said 14 minutes. Yeah, 14 minutes in
Yeah.
that one. He only had 3 points on 1 for 3 shooting. Not only did he not play much, he was in a different role at that point. They hadn't given him the full lead guard sort of opportunities. They were still playing Petrovic a lot. He played a ton in that one. And so they basically have a different rotation and a completely different offense now, which has been the best offense in college basketball since he's become their lead guard. So that is different. And then also on the UConn side, Braylon Mullins has become one of the core pieces of this team, where at that point, he played 10 minutes in that game. He was kind of just like a rotation guy, freshman who they thought had some juice. I think he had a couple shots in that game. But now he's really, and obviously he hits the game winner against Duke. He's really ingrained in that team. But these are two completely different teams. So I don't think there's a ton we can take from that game. But what I will say is, even in that game, when Terrace Reed didn't play that well, UConn got a lot of what they wanted in the paint, which I thought was interesting. I think it was Reeb down low for UConn, number 12. You'll see him in the game. But he had a great game in that one and was pretty dominant down the stretch. And I don't know, Illinois bigs are very good with Mirkovic and Ivasic and even the Ivasic brother off the bench, but they're maybe a little soft. And I think UConn fucking smells blood in the water when there's any sign. And even Wagler, I think if you had a knock on Wagler, it'd be that you don't trust the physicality. I think Stojakovic actually is probably their most like physically imposing player and the biggest like gamer on the team. But I just think in a matchup in a Final Four, you have a Dan Hurley team who obviously has been there, done that. They're physically imposing. I don't really see Illinois being able to match that and match that level of intensity. And maybe Wagler just has like an unreal game shooting the basketball, and we have a different outcome than we think.
I don't agree on the intensity, but like that's a thing I've questioned about like prior Illinois teams. I think they meet the test in terms of.
It's not intensity as much as it is physicality. I
I can
think
agree with you on physicality then. Intensity though is like they die at any sense of adversity, I feel like, which I don't see with this Illinois team, which in years past I have. One other thing, in terms of like guys who have been there, battle, I feel like Caravan versus Boswell is a matchup to watch. Is Boswell going to show up?
he was really good in the first meeting. We'll see.
He
Solo Ball is
hasn't, he
also
hasn't
really
made a
good
shot
on
in 2 games.
Solo Ball hasn't shown up in this tournament either on the UConn side, and he was really good
He's
in
the one
first
player on
meeting.
UConn that could end up. He could like shoot them out of a game. Like he
That's
feels like he runs
that's a
offense
fear
on his
to
own
me.
accord.
That's a fear to me that I wanted to bring up, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, and also, if there's no way to me, I think I can say pretty confidently that Terrace Reed has a no-show game to the extent that he did in that game. Like you
Yeah.
said, with the injury situation and him just not playing much in that game, I don't really see that happening. And then if he's on the floor and they have good wings, yeah, I don't know. I do think that the Illinois offense could win them this game. I think if we see Illinois win this game, it's their shooting shows up and
1,000%. Yeah.
UConn just kind of goes a little flat the way that they did in the first half against Duke, and then the way that they did sometimes in Big East games like the Big East Championship against St. John's, where they just couldn't hit anything. So I think that's the formula for Illinois. I'm pissed that we're all on UConn.
I can see either side of the coin, and trust me,
That's
I
what I
wanted to
mean.
take
Like this
Illinois.
feels so much more
Totally.
50-50 than it is all of us being on UConn.
Yeah,
It
I don't
totally is.
love that we
But
that we're 3
championship,
for 3 here.
like championship DNA is tough
I know.
fucking
It's
bet
just
against,
I,
man. It
I
really
just
is.
I just
And
Dan
16
Hurley in the Final Four. Like I'm not betting against them,
It's 16-0 or 16-1 against the spread.
especially when they're a 2.5
Yeah,
point dog,
like
dude.
I'm sorry, like I have to see it to believe it.
Yeah. But so yeah, we're all on UConn. A little bit surprising to me, but let's move on to this is the heavyweight battle. Michigan, Arizona. I think this is basically the de facto championship game. Michigan a 1.5 point favorite in this one. Who do we have in this?
I mean,
Yeah.
flip a fucking coin, man.
Yeah.
This is truly as tough as it gets. I've gone back and forth on this game so many times, but it kind of pains me because I don't know why. I just kind of want Arizona to be the one that wins this game, but I think I'm gonna pick Michigan. As much as I definitely am siding on wanting Arizona to pull this out. They're both so damn good, but I've just been so impressed with Michigan. They've been dominant. Not that Arizona hasn't. Like I said, it's just two incredible teams, but one of them's got to win. So I think I come out on the Michigan side.
Yeah. Beck. I know where you stand.
I mean, I'm going with Michigan. It's tough, Hunter. It is.
Yeah.
Koa Pete versus Yaxel is such like an interesting matchup.
Dude,
man.
it's so good.
It's just
Talk about
another-
physicality, dude. This
Yeah.
game is going to be fucking physical.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I don't think Michigan's hitting that 90-point threshold this game.
No.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'd be stunned if they do. They win
yeah.
for sure.
If they do, they're the best team ever.
Yeah.
Like, if they score 90 on this Arizona team.
It's just tough to see, like Michigan rolling like this. It's tough to see them losing.
Yeah,
their
that's what
losses
I'm at.
all really came during that like weird kind of drought they had for a 2-week stretch at the end of February, early March.
Yeah, the Purdue and Duke losses.
Yeah, they've been nails outside of that 2-week stretch. Just nails. Dusty May is a guy I'm gonna ride with. I think he's the best coach in the country. I'm sorry. I think Tommy
Beck,
Lloyd
Over Hurley?
Did you see
kind of.
Did you see
Yeah,
Dusty on Outkick? today?
I did not know.
I
Talking to
did
Dan
not.
Dockich.
Listen, I'm not watching every Dusty May clip. I think he
No,
has the
yeah, yeah.
pulse of this
I
team
think that's
perfectly
fair.
right now. I feel like the matchup to watch is if Michigan forces Arizona to shoot threes, and I know this is a big talking point. Arizona is not a team that willingly shoots a lot of threes, but they're good at it percentage wise. If they have to, as a team, hoist up more threes than usual, will that benefit them or will that, be the reason they lose? It's probably what's going to decide this game. I think ultimately these teams are both top three Ken Palm teams of all time. So we know they do pretty
Yeah.
much everything well. I'm going with Michigan. The the bigs have been terrific this tournament, and I think Cadeau has been more than passable as a guard. But if Michigan is to end up losing, I feel like it would be the guard play that would,
Yes.
be the thing that sticks out like a sore thumb.
That's where I think this game's won and lost. Especially Cadeau. We have the questions with the allergy. I think he'll be fine, to be honest. Even yesterday, I said that it was basically a non-factor. There's precautionary stuff. But yeah, I think Cadeau, we've seen him be much, much better this year. And I like Burnett a lot. I like McKennie off the bench. But it's a very similar thing with like if Bradley and Burries just clamp that backcourt, then this game is really, really tough because I think there's a lot of guys that just cancel each other out in the front court. Like you have Krivas down low against Mara. I think that's an awesome matchup. You have Yaxel and Pete. I think that's an awesome matchup. Like it's a lot of just the guys cancel each other out. And then if Arizona's backcourt dominates Michigan's backcourt, which I think can happen. I'm not a huge Elliot Cadeau fan. I'm going Arizona. From the beginning, I've thought this is the best team in the country, and I'm gonna ride with them. And obviously, the Tommy Lloyd Dusty May thing could be a factor. If Dusty outcoaches him in this one, that could be the case. I think Tommy's been nails though.
You ain't Yaxel and Koa cancel each other out though, because I mean,
I think
I
Yaxel's a
think
better player,
yeah,
but
I think Koa Pete's inability to shoot that will
I just don't think
shine
the difference
as well.
between them is big enough that if Arizona's guards dominate, that it will matter.
I feel it. I feel it.
So I think the guards are a bigger swing factor than, but that's the thing. Like, say Koa has a stinker in a way that we haven't really seen, which could happen. Like if he goes ice cold, I do think his ability to get to the line, his ability, he's similar to Boozer in the way that his physicality in college is just kind of inevitable. He just get his points because there's just guys that are. But against Michigan, these bigs, Merez Johnson, we didn't talk about.
Yeah, he's
He's
very
fucking
good.
awesome too.
Oh,
He's a draft prospect.
That's
So
that's where I kind of disagree. I don't think the bigs will cancel out. Like I think Mara could easily have a stinker too for Michigan, like and just be overwhelmed by the,
by
you know,
Krivas, yeah.
yes,
But they just have so many, like in numbers, Michigan, like their front line, they can just throw so many guys out there. Like if Maris sucks, they'll just have Merez play the five, and it just like doesn't really
yeah,
matter. But
good point.
yeah, I mean, there's just so many. Oh, this game's so fucking sweet. I can't wait. I'm rolling with Arizona, but I do agree with you guys. I think Michigan has been much more of a sure thing of late, especially. I do think maybe Arizona's played one more team that I'd say, like I think Purdue's a
They've surely played tougher competition.
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Michigan really
You
hasn't
you you,
tested,
you
man.
played like an
But when you
Alabama.
think about it,
No, like the version of Alabama they played though. They
that was still, yeah, Alabama,
with no Holloway is like it's a completely different
yeah,
team.
it's still a
It
good, it's
is.
still a good team with a great coach.
I
But
agree,
yeah, I see what
but
you mean.
They're just like the most hot and cold team like
Yeah.
ever. If they don't make shots, like you're gonna blow them the fuck out, no
But that's
matter
the
like
thing with
kind of who
Arkansas
you
too,
are.
though. Like they
True.
play, like it's similar. Like Arkansas and Alabama to me is kind of like coin flip. Even
Yeah.
without Holloway, I think that Alabama team without Holloway probably beats that Arkansas
yeah, but
team.
Tennessee to Purdue definitely like you favor
Yeah,
Purdue there,
levels
and like
different.
also like
Utah State was frisky.
yeah,
That is
I
true,
think
on the
Utah
Arizona
State's
side.
like Utah State to me is a much tougher team than
St.
St.
Louis
Louis.
was for
Yeah,
Michigan. Yeah,
yeah,
I agree with that. But yeah, as we said, I think the backcourt is big here. I think what you get out of Cadeau, what you get out of Burnett, and what you get out of McKennie off the bench, I really like him. If Michigan is to win this game, I think he'll be a big part of it. Obviously, now they don't have LJ Kaysen. And then what you get out of Mara and Merez Johnson. And I think at this point, Yaxel is about as sure of a thing as there is in college basketball. I'm not concerned, and maybe I should be more concerned about him having stinker, but we just really haven't seen it. Even when they played Duke and they lost that game in the regular season, he was so good, man. And like he was not the reason they lost that game, at least offensively. So yeah, there's a lot of swing factors. I think Del Orso off the bench for Arizona is also big. If he can get the three ball going, like you said, they're not a team that shoots the shit out of the three ball in terms of volume, but they can shoot it well. So yeah,
Is there any chance this game disappoints?
disappoints. No, I think there's a zero
I
percent
don't think
chance.
so either.
I just think there's so much talent on the floor. Like that we have. Let's go through it in terms of first round NBA talent. You have Burries, Yaxel, Mara, Merez,
And Koa, like
and Koa Pete. You have
yeah.
5 first round, probably not all lottery, of course, but probably 3 lottery guys and 2 end of the first guys. So there's just so much. And then you have Jaden Bradley, who was the Big 12 Player of the Year, who is not even one of these guys we're talking about. So maybe it's like uglier than we think it is, but I
I
don't
could
see
see
a world
that.
where it's not an awesome basketball game between
Yeah,
two of the greatest college teams we've ever seen. This is like
Yeah.
a pantheon Final Four game to me. Like
completely.
No,
this is up there
I'm totally with you. I'm just bracing
for
myself for this
disappointment.
not being what I'm hyping it up to be or think it
Yeah.
will end up
Oh,
finishing as.
dude. Oh my God.
Because
It's
this
gonna be
tournament's been
so
great.
sick.
Like,
It really has.
Totally.
The storylines, dude. You get the A Cuff start of the tournament, like taking over. You get Bennett Sturts going to the Elite Eight. You get like Illinois winning that
The
region.
Texas run
Yes, you get the Texas run. You get
from the first.
the UConn last second winner. You get this matchup in the Final Four, and then you might get another Dan Hurley national title game. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
Beck,
Hurley
you
in the
said
middle of it all.
Beck when you said that you think whoever wins that UConn Illinois game gets blown out. I think if it's UConn, I think that game's close in the title.
They fight. Yeah, I can't see them
I even don't rule
getting
them
their
out
shit
winning it.
rocked.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think they run out of steam.
They
Just
might.
compared to the other two UConn teams that like were overwhelmingly better than everybody. This is a completely different ride than they've been on those other two teams.
Definitely.
I just think it's going to be too good to be true in the title game, if it eventually is them. But that's a narrative in my head that I'm going with. Like I could look very dumb and eat crow 5 days from now.
Also, the only historical outliers in recent college basketball history are UConn teams.
Yeah,
It's 2011 UConn and
2014,
2014
Mhm.
UConn.
Yeah.
So if there is ever a team that looks dead to rights and ends up winning a national title in college basketball, it's the UConn Huskies. So I'm not ruling them out in any game, and especially
Yeah.
after what we just saw, I will not put anything past them.
Yeah, I mean the 2014 run to me was so improbable. The 2011, they won the Big East tournament. Like there's inklings of them.
But
like
metrically, they
Yeah.
have no business. They
Yeah,
are,
I agree. I just look at the 2014 run like way different than the 2011.
yeah,
I thought the 2011 team had a shot. 2014 that came out of nowhere.
yeah, that's true. But we got a good one on our hands, folks. Both these games are going to be special. They're both coin flips. You could convince me either way. Like if you told me that it's Illinois and Arizona, or you told me that it's UConn and Michigan, I would tell you, yeah, that could happen. So we got a special one ahead of us. It's going to be unreal. Folks, enjoy the games. I know I will. I know these guys will. And we will see you next time.
Absolutely.